What's up, guys? Rampedi here. The episode after the MTN 8. Zakela Pasa is on fire. And Anlejali, what were you doing? Let's go.
That's how it goes?
They keep asking about the best when they know it's me.
Okay.
Asking about the rest when they know it's me.
Straight in, I guess.
You know it's me.
The MTN 8 quarterfinal took place this past weekend. 8 teams went to battle. It went down to 4. Sundowns defeated Morocco Swallows, a game in which Anlejali ruined, if we're being honest. Orlando Pirates thrashing Sekhukhune United. I didn't see that coming. Makosi, leaving it late against Cape Town City. Okay. I see you guys in Stellenbosch obviously fighting till the very end. But the semi-final was drawn. We have it. That's the semi-finals. And you know what I love about these ties, guys? Revenge, revenge, revenge. I say revenge because Orlando Pirates will be licking their lips. You know, ever since they played against Stellenbosch, the only game that they've lost this season, they've been playing like a team possessed. They've been playing like a team trying to make things right. So the fact that they get Stellenbosch twice, like they get to beat them up twice, is like, for them, it's crazy. And I can see that happening for them. I can see them beating Stellenbosch. I can see them having to score goals against Stellenbosch as well. They'll be hungry, without a shadow of a doubt. But which team are they going to be facing in the final, though? Is it Masandawana? Is it Amakosi? It's Mamelodi Sundowns, guys. Yeah, look, I know you guys, hey, you coming at me, you in the comments, you want to tell me, but you know, Chiefs did well against Cape Town City. Oh, but Castillo did this and he did that and Ashley Dupree ran like this. I'm sorry, man. It's not happening. Not against Mamelodi Sundowns. You know, I sat there and I've painted the story about 1,000,000 times. 1,000,000 scenarios about like how could Kaizer Chiefs beat Mamelodi Sundowns? And there was not one that I could see Amakosi being able to do it, simply because of the experience that Mamelodi Sundowns has. And also, if we're being fair, if we just saw what happened in the league game, I think the technical team of Kaizer Chiefs is scared of Mamelodi Sundowns. And also, to make things worse, it's 2 legs. If it was a once-off, maybe you give Kaizer Chiefs a chance. But the fact that you have to play Sundowns twice and beat them in those 2 times and get a decent score, I don't even think that Chiefs wins either of those games. So the moral of the story that I'm trying to say, Orlando Pirates, Sundowns, that's going to be the final. Sorry, man, it's a spoiler alert. It is what it is. That's going to be the final. If it's not, man, we'll have another humble pie here. We'll have another one right here. But that game, Orlando Pirates against Mamelodi Sundowns, will be much closer. A lawyer, a club president, a former footballer, Tim Sukazi is in the building, ladies and gentlemen, and I asked him straight. You know, Simango goes, Obas goes, Buthelezi goes, Nyama goes. You're selling all these players to your rivals. How do you expect to compete? Another episode and a big guest, guys. A guest that I highly respect. The president of TS Galaxy, a lawyer in his own right as well. Tim Sukazi, welcome to Playing the Field with Shakes.
Thank you, Shakes. Good morning to you, and thanks for having us.
It's only a pleasure. It's really a pleasure to have you here. You know, something that people don't know, Tim, is the fact that you've been in football for such a long time. When I first heard your name, I knew that you were a lawyer. And now you've ventured into being a club owner. Tell me, how long have you been and why be a president of a football club?
Yeah, sure. Hey, Shakes. To be honest, there's a lot of untold stories about me and my involvement in the game of football. Many people take it from where they just find it. You know, they just take it from the top. For example, you just said I'm a lawyer and I'm in football and all that. But the truth is, also played, you know, to a reasonable extent. Kaizer Chiefs reserves from varsity, recruited by one Mr. Vincent Williams to Kaizer Chiefs reserves, trained by Malombo Shaba, Brapro, the late Doctor's father at Alka Stadium. You know, from there on, then I was recruited down to Cape Town. Cape Town Spurs, then the merger between Ajax and Cape Town and the Seven Stars happened and so forth. And then it coincided with my progress academically. I was lucky. I was one of those unusual ballers who could also study effectively. Yeah, although my friends, Matthew Booth and them, they never knew that I was studying. But then with that, when I had to stop playing, then a few of my friends and, in football players, they then came to realize that I stopped because I had to continue or advance myself in the law field. Be it as a student, they couldn't understand it then, or as a candidate attorney. So they started asking a few questions. Then I started helping a handful few, Snitch Thomas is one of them at the time, and then later Peter Peterson, Fadlu David. Then I took Fadlu to Chernomorets Bugas in Bulgaria while I was still a candidate attorney, and so you would say that my involvement in the game was almost organic. It wasn't something that, I saw an opportunity. Then I said, there's a niche in the market and whatnot because I'm a lawyer. No, I transitioned almost naturally into it, and now I run my own law practice here. And then while also, of course, still working in football, as you know.
Yeah.
And then through the grace of God in 2015, I just realized, it just hit me that probably South Africa needs an alternative club, an alternative proposition in the form of a young football club that will come with probably a different approach, good approach for the good of the game, advancement of the game in the country. And the notion of establishing TS Galaxy, happened on me, and I pushed through it. We started in the third tier, so I wasn't naive to say because I'm an agent operating at the highest level of the game, therefore I could run a club at the highest level. No, we went into the third tier. It was called then the ABC Motsepe League. I think it still is. It's just that they're confusing the two, Motsepe Foundation and the ABC. Now, but I was clear when I formed the club, and when I spoke to our supporters and all that, because from day one, I could say that we had a number of people who showed confidence in the project. I was clear to say in 2020 we'll be in the PSL, I had no doubt about it. I'm Reno. So now today, here we are, 2020, we're in the PSL for the start of 2020-2021 season, albeit under difficult circumstances, COVID and all that, playing in the bubble. But then, we're still here and we're soldiering on, and part of the league.
I see that, and it's quite a journey. I hope everybody who's watching, you can see how long he's been in the industry. I have to tell you something, Tim. For me, you're available. You're speaking to me. You're seen in the stands. You're banging the drums. You're arguably TS Galaxy's biggest supporter. The question I have is that how important is it for leadership to be visible? Because some clubs, you just hardly see leadership. You hardly speak to them. You hardly have questions with them. And you do it. How important is that? I think it's very important.
Yeah, look, if you were to draw from my earlier statement to say when TS Galaxy was formed, the notion was that the country, SA, needed an alternative proposition in the form of a young club that is vibrant and it moves with the times. So some of the things you see, they're quite unique. Obviously, at TS Galaxy, you're pointing at myself, doing what I'm doing, spending my most perfect moments, with the supporters in the stands without fail. But the truth is that over and above that, as good as it is for the game, if you look at other things probably that we have done in the recent past, being the first club to have a training camp in Europe, and now our two sister clubs, Pirates and Sundowns, have followed suit, These are the things I want to see happening. We have to at least, bring about things that our football custodians, if they also look at them, they think they make sense, and then they follow suit, then it comes for a benefit. It becomes a benefit for the benefit of the game, rather. If you ask me, I'm not surprised by the kind of game and play that Orlando Pirates is showing now. Largely it comes from the camp, but then of course towards the end of last season, I think in the last 7-8 games, I saw certain things because they're trained by a European coach, and we also have UEFA Pro licensed coaches. Yeah, I think we're the only club that has got the UEFA Pro license coaches, three of them at that, just for the good of the game. So that also, is one thing. And I'm sure our colleagues will also follow suit and it will benefit the game. But holding a camp in Europe, be exposed to certain things, it just changes the mindset of the players. I saw it with TS Galaxy. This pirate side, it's it's going to be a mammoth task for many of our counterparts in the league to really catch them if they continue. More so because they started. I saw certain things I could see when they played us at Mbombela, some of their patterns and movements. As a football person, I could see that they come from training because some of we also do. Sometimes it may vary because of the player quality, of course, so that also, and then yeah. So Sundowns have been there, and they're still gonna be a force to be reckoned with by far. And so now as Pirates, and I hope a few others will follow. A move that was initiated by One TS Galaxy, which is for the benefit of the game. And now I'm calling for education, football education to our coaches, all coaches. There's no way that a league, the Premier Division or professional league, should have people who are unqualified as professionals in their field coaching.
You mentioned a very good point in terms of having to take an overseas camp. And you see now Orlando Pirates and Mamelodi Sundowns follow suit as well, and having to get those pro licenses as well. There's no denying that TS Galaxy plays better football. There's no denying that Orlando Pirates look so much better, as you've stated. Obviously, Rolani has obviously improved these badges as well. Are we holding ourselves back as a league by allowing certain things in the league, by just allowing maybe sometimes someone to just sit on the bench, not necessarily having particular standards? I get this feeling that PSL could be at a much higher level if we just set a standard for everyone. Is that right?
True that. Yeah, we are holding ourselves back. So we are, this kind of delay is self-inflicted, in my view. So we have to set a standard as a league to say, if you are to coach at our league, if you are, for example, any, let's say, of African origin coach, then probably must have a KF Pro. And then maybe if you're European descent, maybe you UEFA Pro. Why not? We can set that kind of standard. We're holding ourselves back. It doesn't do us any good to just have a situation where I could wake up one day and sit on the bench type of situation. Let's just at least eradicate that and set a standard. It will be one step ahead, in my view.
I see. No, definitely so. And by the way, you seem very ambitious. You've taken the club from NFD, taken to the DSTV Premiership. You've already won a trophy with this club. But one has to ask the question: Simango goes, Obas goes, Nyama goes, Buthelezi goes, all this to your rivals. I'm asking myself, Tim, how are you going to reach your goals if you keep selling your best players, man?
Yeah, Traore goes.
Traore
in Europe.
Teto goes.
Yeah, the number is endless. Yeah, look, through that. So, the best trait in life, you have to know the land on which you are standing. So you must be realistic about things. The truth is that at TS Galaxy, we are a project that is self-funded in a highly, highly demanding league. Clubs receive a grant of 2 million rand. Meanwhile, the overheads on a monthly basis, you are lucky if you're on an early 4 million number, so to speak. Right. So with that in mind, therefore, we needed to come up with a model that will balance things out more, especially, on the finance side of things. So we looked at other clubs, how they did it during their formation years, as towards being big brands, highly established internationally. We drew a leaf from the life of one Tottenham Hotspur, for example. We realized that a few years ago, they had to dispose of their best asset in Gareth Bale, and cashed in a hell of a lot, and they reinvested in the project, and they transformed themselves into a top 4 UEFA, Champions League kind of a club. So that's the model we are following in TS Galaxy. One. Number two, we also know exactly who we are, and that we are still, with 3 years in the league, now entering our 4th season, we are still in our formative years. Yeah, it's sort of we're on our teething phase of our project. So therefore, it means that some of our best talent, they may, if we hold on to them while we're still at this stage of our life as a project, their careers may be delayed by not being afforded opportunity to play at international level. I had said it before that it is collective of players who are ready, who could don the national team jersey today and they would perform. I said it before. I named Msimango, I named Owas, but because they're here, the level of recognition is not the same as it would be when they were to play for the one of the big three teams. You know, so. Because I so much believe that these players are national assets also, and for the advancement of their careers, and also in the best interest of the country, we had to transfer them to the big three clubs.
I thought I would take this opportunity because I have you as a guest, and I wanted to ask you. I'm asking this as also a bit of a fan as well. So you're a leader in your own right, and I'd love to get your opinion on the fact that Kaizer Chiefs, for example, have been a club that you've played for, a club that was successful back in the day, quite a lot, but they've gone on this 9-year journey where they're not winning anything. And funny enough, you were part of the reason why they've gone even longer because you beat them in one of the finals. So I wanted to ask you in terms of, some say it's the leadership, some say it's the players. What do you think, based on your history with Kaizer Chiefs, why do you think they've gone this long without winning any silverware?
Sure, it's a difficult one, really, for me to throw an opinion. Yes, you're right. In those 9 years, in fact, we are responsible for two. One in the final, and 2 seasons ago, we knocked them out of the Nedbank Cup.
Yes.
And yeah, we're guilty as charged for that. Yeah, it is what it is, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, I so much respect what Dr. Kaizer Moegoe has done for the country, by bringing up such a club. Him and the people he started Kaizer Chiefs with many years ago, and by sustaining it and keeping it there. What is keeping it there? Largely being the club, the biggest club in the country. That also is not the easiest thing to accomplish. It's just unfortunate that they had not lived to their billing for these past 9 years. And it's not great for the country too, by the way. You want a Kaizer Chiefs that wins trophies. Successful Kaizer Chiefs, very successful Orlando Pirates, successful my Sundowns. These three clubs are the flagship of our football. For South African football to attain a certain level of recognition internationally, you need a Kaizer Chiefs, Pirates, and Sundowns to be performing at their optimum best, by international standards. So it's unfortunate that it hasn't happened for 9 years at Kaizer Chiefs. I wouldn't prefer to pinpoint, what I've maybe personally would say probably have been shortcomings. But then largely in general, one of the key issues, it was, in my view, the players or the player quality for those type of clubs is very important. That's my humble opinion. I've said it honestly to Kaizer Junior not so long ago.
Amazing. And the last question I have is, you've been around for a long time. You've been able to build such a club, and with the Ndebele roots as well. Very honest in the fact that you don't block the way for players to keep going. You've represented so many players. What's the secret to Tim Sukazi being in the industry for so long and so consistent as well? And especially for people that are trying to get into the industry as well.
Focus. I think that needs to be your key modus operandi. Be an individual or organization. So you need to set yourself a price, because they won't necessarily be, especially if you are out of the mainstream football, still establishing something. So once you establish that, not establishing it isn't starting it, but you need to know what is it really, what's your ultimate goal. Even though life changes along the way, like I said, in my case, 2015 it was in June when the notion of establishing a club came about. So open to another person out there, but then at least if today they would know what they are working towards in the long term and keep their eyes on that and focus on it and work very hard.
And you've been a great leader and you've been a great guest. Only one request I have, Tim, before I do go, is that when you meet Chiefs in another final, please let them win, because I was in tears all those years back, man. But thank you so much for being a guest. I thank you so much, man.
Thanks, Sheiks. Well, I think it's well, should I say it? Sunday 20th, Chiefs will be reporting at Mobile Stadium.
Yes.
Grudge battle, I suppose. Yeah, okay. I hope we won't be hurt as much, but then we'll be going there as TS Galaxy, and you know what we're capable of. Thank you, man.
No, all the best. Keep well and take care.
Who was up to par and who became our star, but also who fell short in this game we all love? Let's find out on Moegoe of the Week.
Star of the week goes to Zakele Lapasa. I mean, guys, in the PSL, we hardly have hat tricks, man. So when one happens, we must celebrate it, And to be fair, he's hungry, man. He's got the eye of a tiger. And for me, you're the star of the week. Moegoe, I think it's pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious. There can only be one, guys. And Lejali. Man. That game between Morocco Swallows and Mamelodi Sundowns, that could have been a great game, but you ruined it, man. Over 400 games in your career. Former Bafana International. European experience. Trophies for days. And you make a tackle like that in the first 5 minutes? Rightfully sent off. And also, rightfully, the Moegoe of the week.
It's time for Bet of the Week. Get ready to win big by placing the right bets on the right games.
Bet of the week time, and I tell you something, man, we are going to be flying to 3 destinations. Destination number 1, the Women's World Cup. I've gone with Australia versus England. A draw or England to win. The next destination, DStv Premiership, Sekhukhune United against Morocco Swallows. I've gone with a double chance, but for either team to win, either team can win it. Next destination is the UEFA Super Cup. I've gone with Manchester City win over Sevilla and over 1.5. And then last but not least, the Premier League. Liverpool against Bournemouth. I've gone with Liverpool straight win. And the next one, Tottenham against Manchester United. I've gone with a draw or Manchester United to win and over 1.5. Yeah, I don't see United losing it. I really don't. My odds, 5.82. That's 5 times my money back. And if you want to win with me, click on the link below.
Remember to practice responsible betting at betway.co.za.
We've come to the end of the show. Cheaper versus Orlando Pirates is on at this current moment. And you know what that means. I gotta go. But before I do, don't forget to like and subscribe. And hit the notification bell so you're notified for future episodes.